I don't think people even realize how easy this is. Go to your competitors' reviews online and see where they're fucking up and do the complete opposite. Okay, so something else that kind of came up, and you know that I kind of like to use other people's questions and even feedback as
things that they want to hear.
Things that they want to hear, but also like people. Again, one of the things that I think I'm good at is taking suggestions from people that are either like haven't done as much as I've done way more than I've done, the same amount that I've done, or anybody. Doesn't matter who it is, right? Because I think everybody has ideas.
Yeah, and a unique experience and feedback.
And one of the things that I actually pulled from something was somebody wrote to me, hey, I've got a tire company. Well, first of all, they were like, hey, listen, I'd love to like chat with you or whatever. I'd love to pick your brain on, my business. The guy owns a tire company, and, he's kind of struggling to gain traction in his industry. He doesn't really like know. He's like, I bet you he's probably looking at it like, I sell tires. How am I going to differentiate myself? That was actually one of the questions. Like, how do I actually differentiate myself when I simply sell tires, right? And somebody wrote back and had like a really good suggestion for him that I do. I for sure did when I started Canadian Protein, and I'm currently doing it for the meal prep stuff that we're using, as well as the golf course. And this kind of like sparked my interest again in doing it for Canadian Protein again. It's a little bit different. And because we're so different, I guess, from other brands in Canada, but there's other things that we could look at, like more similar brands across the world for feedback. And what he suggested was such a simple concept that I don't think people even realize how easy this is. Go to your competitors' reviews online and see where they're fucking up and do the complete opposite. And the majority of time where I find the fuck ups is service. Yeah. Like, it's literally all the time. That's where we get the most like hate coming in, and feedback on like negative feedback is on our service. I think you also take it with a little bit of a grain of salt, and the reason why is somebody's so much more likely someone's so much more likely to share a negative experience than a positive experience. So you might have 1,000 positive experiences, like, which we probably have. Okay, we send so many orders out there, and we'll get like one fucking negative review for like every 10,000 orders. Yeah, but those 10,000 people don't leave a review. It's drives me nuts. Yeah. I wish that all those positive people or all those positive experience, give me a fraction of that feedback, please. Just so it can like show people like, hey, listen. Well,
you know what we should do then is incentivize giving the positive feedback.
I agree. And we do. So
how do we do it right now?
Well, in certain ways that I feel like is a competitive advantage for us to do. Okay. So I don't want to actually get into that. Yeah. But, maybe we can start, as this progresses, with what we're doing here, maybe we actually do get into like certain concepts that we're actually using. But we do incentivize people. But that is such a simple way to figure out how to differentiate yourself in the market by, strengthening your business comparatively to your competitors' weaknesses, right? And this is why I think it's. Remember, I made a few posts about not exploiting, but the fact that other business owners will exploit your weaknesses, and you should never openly serve them on a silver fucking platter. This is why. Because I think a lot of people don't actually realize that in business, it is ruthless and people will exploit your weaknesses. Yeah. So I think it's important to...
Keep going.
Yeah.
We're good.
I think it's important to not... I'm not oblivious to the fact that businesses and people don't have weaknesses, but I think that people need to be careful on, openly explaining and showing weakness, because it will be exploited. Yeah. And it will be exploited And I know this for a fact, and people can argue this all they want because some people were like, well, what the fuck about they keep bringing up. Somebody brought it up and provided like a pretty good argument about Eminem and 8 Mile when he was doing that rap battle. People keep fucking bringing it up on this one video. I'm getting DMs still about it. But I'm like, guys, this doesn't apply. Number one, it was a fucking movie, okay? And number two, that was like such an isolated scenario where it was so applicable because Eminem knew that fucking Papa Doc wasn't going to have anything to say about Eminem in this rap battle, so it rendered him useless, okay? This is not a scenario where if we go out on this podcast and explain to people like, hey, we're doing this and we're doing that and we're doing this, and we don't actively try to change it and strengthen our weaknesses and close those fucking gaps, which takes a lot of time and effort, somebody can fucking swoop in, do it, and just like, poof, now they're a competitor. That's why I don't agree with it.
Yeah.
Why would you want to encourage competition? You don't want to encourage competition. You want to put up so many barriers for competition that they just can't they can't penetrate your fucking barriers. That's the goal of what we're trying to do here. We're trying to close those barriers. We're trying to close those holes. And I think we're doing a great job. Am I going to go on here and start fucking, openly discussing our weaknesses so somebody can come in and, have a competitive advantage against us? No, I'm not going to do that. Why would I do that? That's a fucking poor business decision. But I think it's necessary to acknowledge them internally. That's it.
So going back to the tire shop guy.
Yeah, I think I pretty much covered it though.
Oh, okay.
I think it's actually, we can go back into it a little bit more. So getting back to tire shop guy, I think that's a great way to differentiate yourself is find out where your competitor, and that's actually something that I do, which is very interesting that guy would actually say that. So he's obviously in tune with how to, in tune with business operations. I think he actually owns his own business as well. But that's such a great suggestion that I would really, really suggest doing that. More so, I think what people need to focus on is quality of service. Everybody can compete on product, like especially in such like I guess price sensitive industry, which is probably what he's having an issue with right now. He's probably thinking like, well, I'm not big enough like a Canadian Tire. How the fuck am I going to compete with like Goodyear, Canadian Tire, Michelin, whatever, right? Like all these guys, that actually like offer tires at these big retail centers. How am I going to compete? Well, I promise you could probably compete on service because I go to Canadian Tire and there's a bunch of fucking degenerates working there. You know what I mean? I don't give a shit. I shouldn't say degenerates, but it's a bunch of people that don't give a fuck about their service or whatever, right? So offer the best service. That's what it always comes down to right now.
Yeah.
It's always the best service. We rarely get, we get reviews. Oh, your product doesn't taste good. This and that. I know it tastes good. I'm not fucking stupid, and taste is subjective. And that's not. Did you see that?
Yeah.
It's dimming now. That's so weird. Anyways, yeah. Anyways, taste is so subjective, but service is not subjective. You're either getting shit service or you're getting good service. What you need to do is focus on good service. If you're in an industry that there's not that many competitive advantages, which in a tire industry, if I'm thinking in my head, if I'm starting a tire company, what the fuck am I going to do to differentiate? Bring in tires that nobody really carries? Well, somebody could just bring them in too. Am I going to bring in sizes that nobody carries? They could just bring them in too. Am I going to focus on tires that are like, maybe focusing on one niche in the market? Yeah, probably. I could probably do that. That's probably a good strategy, is to focus on one area in the market that you become known for in that market, not try to be like a general type of tire retailer that just kind of offers everything under the sun. We've seen what happens it's like marketing almost like number one with brands, right? You want to start with, you want to develop a brand or an offering that is like very, very, very hyper like niche, right? And that's probably a good strategy to have, to be quite honest, because what will happen is you'll be known in that industry as that guy, and people all around will come to you for that stuff, right? I could think of like, maybe high performance stuff. Like for me, with my cars, I don't even know where to go around here to get high performance shit.
That's a good point.
The problem I can see though is you could probably simply order them because it's like Pirelli, Michelin, like those kind of tires are readily available. So if anybody's like, and they also, those tire manufacturers also make general, fitments for cars, right? With specific tires. Like, I could probably, but then you could probably get tires for your old Focus there, or whatever the fuck that was.
Yeah, Fusion,
that are Pirelli. Like, you know what I'm saying? So any normal tire company could probably do that. But what they can't probably do is, maybe they can't get my car on a lift because you have to have specialized lifts and specialized maybe training for putting on those type of tires. So what I would think is specialize in a certain niche and specialize in a certain product offering that you don't really see all that often, and it's difficult to actually find. That's what I did with Canadian Protein. Yeah, simple as that. It wasn't really in the market at a time, and I filled a void in the market. And then number 2, I would really focus on customer service. That's what I would really do. If I was starting a tire company, that's what I would do. I would niche myself out, and then I would focus on service as well. But great suggestion about the reviews. And then third, I would go on reviews of my competitors and find out where they're fucking up. And then I would do the exact opposite. Yeah. And differentiate.